Hey friends, so as you know, you guys have like two people that you are obsessed when we have them in our chats. The first one, of course, is Puffin. And we're so grateful to have her on. If you listen to a past couple episodes, you know, she popped on here, talked to us about middle school, and you guys can tell she's growing up, right? She is not a little one anymore. But our second favorite person to have on, probably our first, well, I'm not going to lie,
is Alex. And I'm back.
And he's back. And he's back. Y'all, I'm not kidding. What happens is we'll be hanging out doing something, and I'm like, we should talk to the aunties about this. We should talk to my girls.
Oh, yes, that's good. That's good.
Yes, this is. Oh, you and your podcast voice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, you just have to come in here and just really, you know.
What? It's like, you know what it gives? It gives like NPR talk radio.
Exactly, it's NPR talk radio.
Therapist. Yes, like that sort of thing. Like, and you
Welcome back to NPR.
Oh, we are so glad you're here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Now, did you notice the spring blossoms are coming in?
Oh, did I?
Oh, wow.
What a treat.
It's beautiful out there.
Really amazing.
Quite fragrant.
Fragrant indeed.
Y'all, so this is how the conversations are in the car. And then we're like, we should do a podcast again. So we're glad that you're here. If you're keeping up with us on social, on Instagram, you know, I've been sharing a little bit about the things that have happened in the past couple weeks, and really excited. Went to the Emmys. How fun was that? Didn't win.
But got the nom.
Got the nom. So I'm officially an Emmy nominated whole me, Emmy nominated. Thank you. Thank you. Grateful. However, really glad for General Hospital. Really happy for them. This was their 185th Emmy in Outstanding Daytime Drama Series. I'm like, y'all couldn't give me one? What about a half? An M?
Is this an M?
Just an M? No, I didn't get it. So, but it was amazing to go. It was so cool to see all those people in real life. That was bananas. Everybody who was anyone was there. What was really fun was, remember how for the book tour, I got to see, we went to like Sherry Shepherd, and we kind of made our rounds and got to see Gayle King. So Tamron was there, Tamron Hall, and Sherry's people were there, and it was just like really
nice
cool.
little reunion. Got to know some people on the road, and
Jennifer
then like
Hudson, Kelly Clarkson. Like it was just really
awesome.
cool to see all the people that will be competing with me for an Emmy in the future. I say, keep your heads up, ladies. So, no, it was a great time, and I felt really blessed to even be nominated, to be in the room, to get dolled up, and it was really cool stuff. So, and in the next couple of weeks, we'll be dropping even more news because there's so many things happening behind the scenes here, and we're super excited to share them with you. But the thing that I wanted to talk about today that is beyond relevant, I think, is, you know, we're merging families because of being married. And so when I tell you, I did not ever understand how important it was to like your partner's family.
Huge.
When I tell you, and so just so you guys know, if you've noticed on most of our chats, I'll come in here like, I didn't realize this thing was important at all. Like, and Alex will be like, yeah, it's kind of relevant. So I'll just let you kick off because for me, you know, in my past, I just always kind of put it on the back burner. I was like, yeah, you know, this family has issues, or, you know, this person's being a little off, or
but
I don't like
I'm
this
marrying
behavior.
this person, not their family.
Right. And we'll just do it different in our house.
Yeah. I mean, in actuality, when people say like, oh, I'm marrying this person, not their family, it's like, no, you are marrying the family.
The whole
also.
thing.
It's a package. And whether you want it to or not, that package, the rest of it has a certain effect on your own personal relationship with your person.
Well,
you know,
if nothing else, in how your person was raised and having that come in, you know, as being an issue. So let's take it back to move it forward, right?
Okay.
So for me, I, you know, have had many relationships, you know, not many, that's not even true, like 3, you know, but I was not a serial dater. I didn't rack up a lot of people, but so I met most of the families, you know, because they were like a year or something like that, or longer. I was obviously married for 12. And I can honestly tell you, call it my picker, I don't know what it is, but every single family of any person I've ever dated has been a little off, like consistently. And I'm not knocking who they are or how they're off. It was just so different. Like it was clear I did not fit, you know, and their family, every family operates weird. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen the meme that went around about the guy who went into someone's house and was shocked that their family didn't have a poop stick?
A poop stick?
You've never heard that before?
A poop stick?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I was in the bathroom and like, I really let a really huge one go and I was looking for the poop stick. And then like I came out and I like asked my new girlfriend, I was like, hey, where does your family keep the poop stick?
That was a sentence that a man said to his woman. Where's the poop stick?
I can't. Because his whole life, his family kept a poop stick so that if the poop was too big, they'd break it up so that they could flush it down.
Oh, I had a whole other image for the use. I was like, is this like a back scratcher? Like, no,
it's a poop stick to like bend the poop for flushings. I know. But he grew up thinking that was so normal that he did not realize until he got into his girlfriend's house that everyone doesn't have a poop stick.
Now I'm thinking they should, though. Like, why don't we have a poop stick?
Listen, because that mess is not sanitary, but this is exactly what I mean. So that's what I mean when I say, look, I am not knocking any of my exes or anybody's family. The poop stick thing got you.
It did.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I'm not knocking anyone's family because families are literally just different, right? Like a poop stick for you and no poop stick for me, right? We're just different. But I think it's interesting because when you start really getting into they're going to be my family, you start looking at what they do and start saying like, maybe that's not for me.
Right. I mean, so you mentioned that you had a few relationships where you're like the family like kind of off or whatever. Like, what's a good example that you feel good bringing up where you're like, okay, this is something that turned
right now.
Like, you're like, this is something that turned me off or that like I couldn't like that could impact this way or I'm seeing it manifest in my person in this way from the family or like what's
right. So I've had, I'll just take from a smattering of the people that I've dated rather than, going too specific. So with one person I was with, I went home with their family and no joke, at one point there was a comment made saying that their current grandchild wouldn't be, who was, full Caucasian, wouldn't be as good as basketball as my future children because obviously I'm Black. And that was said like it was normal. I think this was either at like a Father's Day brunch or like a Thanksgiving, and it was just regular. And the part that I think was the most shocking of it was the person I was with didn't flinch.
They thought that it was just like totally,
they were just like,
like of course,
like naturally, you being of color, young lady.
I mean, it makes sense.
You'd be very good at Los Baloncesto. Spanish for basketball. God. I just threw that in there. It's a bilingual podcast. I like to sprinkle in a little bit of my talents.
You're like, what words do I know in Spanish? How can I gear the conversation towards my ability to drop these words in Spanish?
Occasionally, just a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, so there's that. Right. And then the other time that I think so that was one indicator. And mind you, that was an early sign. I would say that was like a couple years in. And I was like, oh, this may not be the move. Like, this may not be it.
Because something like that, you can imagine, has happened a lot over the years. And if nobody has corrected them
nobody flinched.
Or if like nobody thought to warn you, hey, this one relative maybe says something a little
spicy, a little
spicy,
racist.
Just a heads up,
just a touch of racist at the table.
Like maybe your person isn't even aware that that's like a wrong to even give you a heads up about something like that.
And where is it going, right? Like if we're going to be together, have a relationship, whatever else, eventually said basketball star child will be at the table, right? And I need to know we're going to be okay.
Well, he's going to be a basketball star. You're going to be fine.
They'll be like, we were right. We were racist and correct. That's like literally what it was giving. So needless to say, that relationship didn't work out. Right? There was that one. And then the other one that comes to mind as like kind of a solid, oh man, what did I get myself into, was when I was dating this one guy and I went over, first of all, oh gosh, I'm laughing because it's so embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm selling this to like the guy with now. You're going to laugh because you don't know this.
Oh, new story. Oh, let's go.
It's a new factoid into the story.
Here we go.
So on our very first date, I drove. There are so many signs. I could own a red flag store with so many red flags that came into my life that I just held on to. I literally bargain clearance red flag store. So on our first date, he showed up on the date and he didn't drive. And I was kind of like, well, some of us Uber, whatever, no big deal. But then he was like, can you give me a ride home? So and like fast forwarding on that portion, it was that because his driver's license was suspended for a DUI. So that's just like just a little side note, right?
Okay, not the strongest start.
But then when it came time to drop him off, he asked me to drop him off down the block. Don't make that face at me because they can't.
¿Por qué?
Nice bilingual drop.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See your opportunities, you got to take them.
So why did I drop him off down the block? So at the time I did not know. I remember thinking to myself, this is weird. We're adults. You know, we were solidly into our like, well, I guess I got married at 22. So we were probably like 19. And so I seemed weird to me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're looking at me. So he lived with his parents. Still not weird. 19, right? We were in college, whatever. And but like when I dropped him off, he took off.
What does that mean? Took off? like took off like in a sprint?
Yes, yes.
He got out of your car and sprinted down the street.
Sprinted down the street. I guess so. I wouldn't follow him to like see where he went, like what house he went into. I went on a second date with him. I just want to let y'all know who I am.
Why do I imagine it was just like a giant cockroach just scurrying like to the gutter?
It gave that energy. It gave that energy.
Well, okay, so what was the deal?
So here was what the deal was. So I find out because, of course, I was like, this guy has second date potential. This guy has long-term potential. So I proceeded to continue. This is 19-year-old me. Proceeded to continue dating him. He was my first long-term boyfriend. Constant issues the whole time. Red flag-a-thon, right? Then I finally get to the point where I meet his parents. We are like maybe like 6 months into this relationship when I finally meet his parents. And I come to the house. Already there's like trash in the front lawn. Like tires and like old boxes and like car parts and like just a nice house. Can I just say the house had a great market value? Like I just want to say
saw the potential.
Oh, it was the DC Maryland region. That house had to at least been, you know, back in what, early $2,000, $500,000. Nice property, poorly maintained, low curb appeal. Okay.
I feel like that's how you were looking at this guy. Like high value, lots of potential, not well maintained. I don't know.
But you know, I'm not afraid of a little renovation project, a little fixer upper, you know, clearly. So I went ahead and we would get there. I go in and I'm already kind of hesitant, you know, like it was giving Get Out, you know, like I was a little concerned. But I get in and the house is packed to the gills. This is like, I mean, I don't know when Hoarders came out. I guess Hoarders was probably early 2000s, you know? So I think it was just that languaging was starting to come into our lexicon, you know, it was starting to become common verbiage.
How do you say that in Spanish?
Lexicon. Shameful.
Close
It's
enough.
terrible. It's terrible. So I come in, this house, it was one of those situations where I don't know how they opened the front door. Like they had pathways. Does that make sense? And I remember at one point that he'd mentioned to me that his father was a collector, right? But you know me.
You think like action figures, baseball cards.
That's right.
Whatever.
Like, and from a logical standpoint, like he's got a business and he's, you know me, I'm always, if y'all don't know this about me, I am queen, like best case analytical scenario, right? Like here's the way that must obviously work out. This dude liked to collect glass, hand-blown, custom-made figurines that he would purchase from eBay with the intent to resell. So not only was this house packed to the brim with glass figurines, it was an incredibly fragile situation. So like you not only like please stop laughing at me because this is very serious. So you have to walk through these tiny pathways and also avoid shards.
So
it's like not only will you get cut, but you'll get instant infection. You know what I mean? It was both. So yeah.
So if you trip and fall, it's literally like a glass house.
It's like glass house. So it's like literally like you will break something that will have him in tears because it was valuable to him, right? And
was it actually valuable?
Is anything valuable if it's just sitting there on a shelf? It was like, this is my business brain. I'm like, it's just inventory. It's worth zero if it's not out acquiring things. You know what I mean? Right. It's just sitting there. Right. So and here's the tough part. Are you ready? Everyone right now is cringing with me. I was invited over for dinner. Can you imagine walking into a hoarding house that the walls had mildew because you can't clean when there's stuff everywhere.
Okay, so wait, let me back up for a second.
Yeah.
Let me back up for a second.
I know. I wish I should have prepped you.
Okay, so the first date, you dropped him off and he sprinted down the road.
This is so embarrassing.
And now you didn't find out why that was until 6 months later when he invited you for dinner?
I thought it was like a late workout or I don't know.
A late workout? I
don't know. I just thought he was just
You never asked him why?
He sprinted? No.
In 6 months? No,
because after that we just had like normal dates and I never dropped him off at home again.
But you never brought it up?
I never really brought it up. I never really brought it up. I was young. I didn't think much of it.
Okay, so 6 months later, he finally works up the courage.
Yeah.
I guess he's just super embarrassed. Didn't want you to see where he lived. At that point,
we've been together for a while. We were talking about like, so are you going to move closer? Or like, what are we going to, you know, like we're just like chatting kind of what are we doing, you know? Like, you know, we were having the conversation that adult couples have in about a year, but because I was 19 and he was like 22, we were having it like at 6 months. You know what I mean? Like because we're over eager beavers, you know, that youthful, it must be more serious than it is.
Okay,
you know?
so he invites you for dinner, you go in.
And so when I go in, first of all, I don't smell food, you know, like because the stench in the house was so stenchy that like there was no food, which is concerning. And then I was like, where are we going to eat? Like, so I look in and they have one of those eating nooks, you know, that people have in like their kitchen, an eating kitchen, like that little side table.
An eating kitchen.
An eat in kitchen.
Eat in kitchen.
Eat in kitchen seating breakfast area. And so, of course, there's like stuff everywhere on the floors, on the corners, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, but there were like little circles of sitting space on each table. And then I look to my right really quick because I'm in the kitchen and I look at the kitchen, the stovetop burner. There's one burner. The rest of the burners, when I talk fire hazard, okay, covered in mail, paper. I was like, I'm not even kidding, if I was ashy and rubbed my knees together and there was a spark, that house would go up. Okay, that is how like dangerous this home was. It was unbelievable. And sis was making rice-a-roni in a skillet.
At least she was making something good.
Is this something good? I don't eat rice-a-roni. Is it good?
I don't even know.
I've never even had it.
I can't remember the last time.
It's like rice-a-roni is like hamburger helper with rice.
Right.
So I don't know. I've never had it.
I mean, I think I had it like a bit when I was a kid, but like.
Yeah, I would. I mean, you know, I cook, but I'm not knocking it. It's probably good.
I mean, hamburger helpers can be pretty solid.
Is it prepared.
Good? It can be pretty solid.
Yeah, I tried to make
it right.
The girls, when I first got them, side story, asked me to make hamburger helper, and I didn't know. Like, I looked at it online, and I was like, oh, it's just like noodles and beef or whatever and a cheese sauce. So I made like a bechamel and I browned some meat and I put it all together. They were like, what the heck is this?
Right. No, we want the trash.
I know, but it's a category. Like I get it, you know? Yeah. So anyways, hardest part was trying to like eat a meal during this process and like, but be first time meeting them. Like you have to taper people in. You can't bring them your whole family that quick. Like no prep. I had no prep about like the house not being clean. It wasn't even like he gave me a lie. Like, oh yeah, we haven't had the cleaners in a bit. He didn't even give me that. I walked in there cold.
No warning.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just come over for dinner, meet my parents. And so I'm not prepped to think any of this. I mean, I could not have been prepped. So there's dinner. And then at one point I said, you know, I need to use the restroom, which just clearly I was a kid because growing up, I don't know if you know this about black parents. Black parents, we don't even go to the bathroom at gas stations. Sometimes you got to hold it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if something looks dirty, you don't eat over their house and you don't go to their bathroom. I'm like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I get to this bathroom. The tub is filled with papers, magazines, stuff. The toilet seat had one of those. Do you remember these from the 80s, the cushion toilet seats?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it was moldy.
I know you. You of all people.
You know how I am about cleanliness, okay? The African in me, I almost sprinted away from the house, okay? I wanted to run, okay? So that happened. And all I could think was, wow, this is his family. This is what he grew up in. And in my non-therapied self, you know, all I could think was, oh my God, like, he must have been so embarrassed. I can't believe he brought me into his home. Like, I'm glad he was able to share that part.
He was willing to risk the embarrassment to have you meet his family and wanted you bring in because he liked you. And
yeah, at least that's what my brain processed.
That was a testament to how much he liked you.
My brain processed at that time. Do you know what the truth is?
What?
He ain't care. He ain't care. He was like, she can see my mess. He didn't even know the mess was a mess. That's how much of a mess he was.
Well, but wouldn't him sprinting, getting dropped off on the first date, like, he was embarrassed about it, clearly.
Maybe he had awareness, but it wasn't awareness to the level of, oh, nah. Think about this. When I had to see your place, right? Let's talk about you, right? And you know how you're, look at your face right now. How quick were you to bring me to your place?
I wasn't quick. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because it wasn't like cleanly and like.
Are you a hoarder?
I'm not a hoarder.
I mean, do you know what clean is?
I do.
And we've lived together now for years. You're not a dirty or messy person at all. By any definition would I call you dirty, like at all. And yet you were nervous just because you had a boy place.
I had a boy place. It was like, it wasn't perfectly pristine. The furniture wasn't nice. They were kind of like hand-me-down furnitures.
A frat house,
you know, it was frat house, but the apartment itself was a nice 2-bedroom, whatever. But like, yeah.
And you had a nice pool. It was like nice amenities, great neighborhood. It was a nice spot. Like, but yet you were still like, it's a boy place.
Oh, and before you came over, I cleaned. Oh man, hold on, back up. But I want to go into that, but back up.
Oh my gosh. I was like, we changed the topic.
Right. Nope. Changing it back. So what was it about all of that situation and how it affected him? Like, why didn't that work out?
The relationship with him?
Yeah. Like, what about that experience?
Do you want it to get dark?
Not dark, but like, was it something about the hoarding in the family? Was that like, did that impact him in the negative?
So yes, you're right. I understand what you're asking me. So basically, what about what I saw there let me know that, okay, this family...
Because we're talking about how the family impacts the person.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one, I continued to date this guy for the longest time and it ended really badly. That was actually my first experience with domestic violence. That's the dark side of it, right? But I will say, I should have known something was happening because in meeting every single person I've ever been with, you meet their family first. You know, before there's a ring, usually before you move in, before there's any long-term level of commitment, you meet the family. Every single person whose family I've ever met, upon meeting the family, I should not have continued further. And whenever I did, it always ended badly, you know? And again, not judging. Look, I call it hoarding, they call it collecting. You know what I mean? I call it racism, they call it Tuesday. Okay? Like everybody's family is different. You know what I mean? And they gonna live the way they gonna live. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know, whatever it is, I saw it and I continued. And that was probably my first sign that if the family ain't working, we're not gonna work.
Right. That makes sense. You
have your own stories though. Cause like I never realized, listen, all of this to me, and you guys probably know this from our chats, like I often again am shocked at these sort of revelations. Like, wow, there's a pattern of me meeting families that like it's not going well and then me ending up with these guys and it doesn't go well. Huh, what an interesting thing for me to learn in reflection, you know?
There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern here. And I know for some of you right now, a lot of people, women talk about this all the time. I don't get along with my mother-in-law or my sister-in-law was crazy, or I'm dating this guy and his family's being insane about the wedding or insane about whatever else or weird about the kids. And then they talk about how challenging and stressful that is for the relationship. And all I could think is, sis, I know you didn't just find this out.
Right. This can't be that big of a shock.
It can't be that big a shock. Yeah. So with you, you're so different from me.
So yes. So like before you came over and saw my place, I was very hesitant, you know, one, because I saw your place and I'm like, I mean, you keep
my place is sterile.
Your place is
immaculate.
I mean,
immaculate.
It's just pristine.
You can eat off the walls.
Oh man.
I mean, it is immaculate.
Oh yeah. It was very clean, well maintained. You know, you have a nice place. And
my fridge. Tell them about my fridge.
Oh, the fridge. I mean, every drink your heart could desire, all the labels faced outwards, everything perfectly in a row.
It's giving Whole Foods, not Trader Joe's. Yeah. Organized.
Literally organized. You know, and I was living with my buddy Matt at the time, and
we love Matt. Shout out Matt.
We love Matt.
You.
Yeah, Matty boy, what's up? And before you came over, I cleaned up my whole place best I could. You know, I cleaned up and straightened up because I didn't want to be.
And you were still nervous.
Right, and I was still nervous. I mean, I even remember the first time you were like, yeah, we'll go get tacos. You pick me up. And I was like, oh, in my car?
And I was like, yeah.
Okay. And I got my car washed. I got it detailed. Like I cleaned out the whole inside of my car. I was like, I cannot let my car look crazy. Picking you up for the first time, you got your nice Tesla.
Oh my God.
You know.
But my Tesla's a mess too, though. I'm like, it's usually pretty like crummy because I like snacks. But either way, you're right.
But either way, and honestly, if it wouldn't matter if it was you or any other, if it was somebody that I really liked, I wanted to show
best foot forward,
show care,
But also you grew up like that. Like your family's tidy. Your home is always extremely clean.
Yeah, my family's house is it's a nice house.
Did you know I thought about that. Like when I first met your parents, like I literally whispered a tiny prayer at the end of their driveway, like, please God, don't let it be a hoarder. Because I like this man, Lord.
Don't let it be a mess in there.
Oh, please, Lord, let them not collect in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
Go again. So, but I I love your family, so we could talk about that.
Yeah.
So I am, of course, I'm like, I've dealt with nothing but in-law drama, right? Like on some level, you know, and I say in-law meaning categorically any guy I dated, their family, right? Like there's always been some sort of something.
Right.
Your family though, when I tell you, if we weren't together, I probably would still choose your family. Like I love them. You know me. I'm like,
oh, I know.
I am obsessed with your mom. She is brilliant. Everything that woman thinks is right. I co-sign. Like when she talks,
you guys are very much the same.
Listen,
very similar.
She's a smart woman. Okay. Yeah. And then your dad is you.
My dad is me. Yeah. I am my dad.
Like he is the sweetest, most darling, caring, lovey, warm, generous, and brilliant. He's an entrepreneur too. So like when we start vibing on the entrepreneur stuff, like I get him and I learn from him, you know? I love your brother. Your brother reminds me of me too in a lot of ways. Cause he's like, we're the same age, you know? So awesome dad. I love his wife, which, you know, that was a bonus. I didn't expect that. Yeah. We're a day apart in birthdays, you know? Like I just feel so freaking blessed. Oh my gosh. And I forgot like the extended family, Erica, shout out to the whole fam bam. Yeah. Right. Like the Chilagian crew. I'm a fan. I love your family. I have not met a single member of your family thus far that I haven't been like, I'm so fortunate. Yeah, everyone's like really nice and welcoming and sane, and and everyone works hard, you know, and shows respect, and you know, extremely diverse family too. Very diverse family. You've got like Persians, Asians, we've got Persians, Asians, Mexican. Yeah, everyone's Black, all over the place. You know, Jewish, Iranian. Yes, yeah, Iranian, right? Yeah, we've got the full gambit. So the interracial thing was never an issue because that wasn't an literally. Issue. I don't think any member of my family in my generation, well, except for maybe Lisa. No, but Lisa. Even your previous generation, your aunts and stuff. Like, yeah, even my previous generation, like almost everyone is in an interracial relationship. Yeah. So it's like not even a thing. Yeah. So that was an issue, thankfully. Yeah. With lots of great basketball stars. Yeah. Lots of potential. Talents that never came up at a dinner, thankfully. That wasn't an issue. So I appreciated that. But aside from that, just generally amazing personalities. Now let's talk about how you've experienced your partners. Because again, for me, it was, oh, your family's crazy. My family's crazy, different. We're perfect for each other. Let's continue with and hold red flags together. Now for you would meet your partners, right? Like people that you've dated. And you told me that you would meet their families and you were like, that was when I knew it was over. Oh, yeah. There was a couple times where I met my ex's mom, whatever. And I was like, I saw a glimpse into my future and I was like, oh, you look exactly like her. You have the same bad habits that you told me all about. I'm like, this is literally going to be you. I'm like, this is, like that it's not for me because I knew that that's where it was heading. Are you one of those guys who, when you meet the mom, you're like, oh, is that what you're gonna look like? That's what they're gonna look like. Dang. Like you're already exhibiting some of the same behaviors and habits and stuff that you tell me are a problem for them, but you don't even realize that you're leaning into that too. And it's like, so I was like, no. I mean, there was one I can give the example. Yeah, you said, are you talking about the one really early on where you knew? Where you went over to hang out with her? Yeah. Yeah. That one is that's a doozy because how old were you then? And you already knew. This was in high school. And you already knew this family may not be a family I want to be around. Oh yeah. That's wild. This was in high school and my girlfriend of like 2 years. And you know, I would hop on the bus because I didn't have a car. And so I'd hop on the bus, go over there, and then I have to walk like 5 blocks or whatever it was to her house. About a 15-20 minute walk, you know, from the bus stop. And I'd go over and hang out. And there was this one time where they were doing like a bonfire in the middle of the day or something. And there was all this sawdust kicking up and my allergies just went absolutely nuts. And I'm sorry. A bonfire in the middle of the day. It was like, I don't know, maybe it was in the middle. It was like going into evening, but it was like maybe like 3-4 o'clock. It wasn't late, but it was that wasn't the red flag. I think if I walked up and there was fire, it was like gathering all the wood and it was just like gathering materials and stuff. It's giving witchcraft. I'll let you continue. The African in me, that would have set the red flag. If I walk up and there's a fire and it's like 11:30, I'd be like, whoa. Well, I mean, they didn't take out the cauldron yet. So okay, I mean, so you knew you were still doing I knew it was still fine. Okay, got it. Okay. So yeah, so you get over there doing some sort of something. And my allergies were going absolutely nuts and I was feeling really, really awful. I was sneezing, I was coughing, my eyes were itchy. I was just like, oh man, I feel horrible. I need to lay down. And I laid down on the couch
And I was there, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. And then the mom came up to me and she was just like, you're here to hang out with my daughter, not lay on our couch. And I was like, I feel sick. Like, I feel really, really bad. And I just like, I'm sorry, I need to lay here. She's like, well, hurry up because you need to hang out with my daughter. Or like, just, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was that energy.
You're a baby though also.
Oh man. And I was looking
14,
at her.
15? Maybe a little older, 16 maybe?
16, 17?
You're like 17, 18 when you
15, 16.
So you're a baby.
15, 16. So that happened and I was like, this lady is crazy. I was like, I feel like I'm dying and you won't let me lay here for a minute? Like, so I got up and I went to my girlfriend at the time. I was like, do you know what your mom just said to me?
And what reaction were you expecting? Was that part of it? Was like you expected her to be
I expected her to be like, what? That's crazy. Of course you can lay down. I'm sorry you don't feel well.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a minute? Can I get you a water?
Right. Girlfriend behavior.
Girlfriend behavior. Yeah. And so I told her, I was like, your mom just said, don't lay on my couch. And with my girlfriend, I was like, and then she was like, well, she's right. You are here to hang out with me and not lay on the couch. I was like, oh, both y'all crazy. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go.
And you took your little 4 buses, 3 trains, and a speedboat.
I was like, I don't care how I need to get out of here. I just need to get out of here. This environment is crazy.
I can only imagine, of course, because me and your mom think the same. Listen, if you came home telling me you were sick over at your little girlfriend's house, the way I would have been quick in a car, called up these people like, I know my son did not come over there. I know your mom probably felt some type of way, but she was going to let you live.
I don't even know if I told her. I was just...
Oh my gosh.
But like that happened. It was just so telling of like the mom. And there were so many other dynamics within the house, like just certain substance abuse
abuse
issues.
But we're also
whatever,
listen, we're not judging those.
Not
because
judging.
Realistically, just like I said, I think we said this before, some people's families are just different, right? Like, so like the dynamic existed with my previous relationships too. There were straight up mental health things, like checked into a hospital, unwell, like dynamics that were at play, and not judging any of that. I'm just saying, should I be married into that? Am I the person to handle that? Like maybe not for me.
And that moment for me was just a glimpse into the psyche of the family dynamic, or like how they operate in a household. And I was like, this ain't for me.
Wow.
Goodbye.
At 15.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I may have stuck around a little bit. I walked out of the house and then, we probably argued about it. And then I probably stuck around a little longer, but it never worked out because, her attitude, like just like same kinds of things where we just disagreed on how to handle stuff.
So you saw it leak into the relationship.
I saw it leak in for sure.
It's interesting because I feel like that's what happens is you date someone, you get a sense of who they are, but then you meet their family and you're like, oh, that's how you got that way.
Yeah.
That's why that is. You know what I mean? And then you start wondering, oh, do I really want this person to continue? At least for me, I think, do I want this person to continue to influence either my marriage or the children? And the truth is, for some of the dynamic relationships I had before, the longer I was in the relationship, the more I saw that be an issue. Like whether it was coming in to rearrange my kitchen because they felt like it should be better or different, or more in keeping with what their kitchen looked like, to questioning things about my background or my family or something like that. that was like wildly inappropriate, like just ongoing things that, at least by my definition, were boundary crossing, red flags, but I saw it on day one, but I just ignored it. Now, a question for you. Did you find, or have you found, that your radar, I guess, for how much time you stay with someone after you find out that the family's crazy or just out of alignment with you got shorter and shorter? So like at 15, it was 2 years, but then like a little bit before me, previous relationships, it might've been like a couple months, where you're like, oh, you're nuts, I'm out.
I think in different stages of my life, it was always not exactly the same scenario. So I would come up with like, oh, well, that's an issue, but like, is that a make or break for me? Or like, is this something I could deal with, because. What
are make or breaks then? So obviously inconsiderate mother, you said you were still there for a couple years. What was the ugly mom? Like, oh, I got to get out of here. Is that like, oh, your mom's ugly, this is not going to work?
It's not just like ugly, it's habits. It's habits too. Whether it be like gambling problems and smoking problems, or like whatever it may be, you know.
That's smart. So you're basically saying if you see behaviors that are normalized in their upbringing, that's where you're like, this may be something that'll be too sticky for me to expect them to grow out of.
Especially if like the mom is, or the dad or whoever is exhibiting whatever behaviors and you're like venting to me about it being a problem. But then I see you doing it and you're like, well, I've got it under control though. I'm like,
yeah, no.
I'm like, do you though?
Yeah,
because
no.
it's not given that.
Wow.
So
okay. So then with your family, because we've already said, I think they're sane. At least they're my type of sane, whatever it is, right? Every family is different.
Right.
For me, you know, for the racist family I dealt with, KKK would be like their gems, right? Put them on the cover. You know what I mean? But for other people, not so much. Right? Not so much. So your family, I think they're wonderful. Are you protective over people meeting your family? Or are you kind of like, did you let these people meet these girls you were dating quickly? Or were you kind of like, because I know when I met them, but I also am your wife. So I don't know
right.
what it's like for everyone else.
So I would definitely like, if I was almost a serial monogamist in a way where like I had several long-term relationships.
Yeah, you like a girlfriend.
I like a girlfriend. I like to be in a partnership. Like that was kind of my thing, you know. I definitely had my spouse.
Hopefully it's still your thing. Like you like a long-term relationship, I hope.
You know?
You play too much.
Yes, I do. To clear that up, I do.
Thank you for that confirmation.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would be in those long-term relationships. I would bring them around to like, you know, you can't date a girl for 2 years and be like, you can't come over to my parents' house.
I mean, this one guy did for 6 months.
I mean, I guess for 6 months, but there's a point where if you're with a girl for at least 2 years, 3 years, anywhere between 5 years, it's like, okay, you're gonna come to family events, you're gonna come to stuff.
So for the teens listening, because everyone's in different ranges, and also for people who are re-entering the dating world, how long do you think is reasonable then? Like if because I really believe like if you haven't met his friends or his family, you're not his girlfriend. He may be your boyfriend, but trust sis, you are not his girlfriend.
Yeah, until you've passed all the vibe checks, you know, it's a big one. Like I put some of my girlfriends through the gambit. Like
really?
Yeah, like there was one where I took her to a party. There was this backyard party, and I knew every single one of my friends were gonna be there, like 50 of them. Like there was just a backyard party full of everyone I've known forever. And I brought her.
This was not me, y'all, for the record.
It was not.
No.
And this was, I don't know, a couple girlfriends ago. And I brought her to the party and I made sure to leave her alone at a certain point in the party. And I was like, are you going to be the type of person that just hangs out by the food table and just snacks and on your phone? Or when you're by yourself, are you going to like get to know my people? Are you going to like make conversation? And do I have to babysit you? Do I have to be, is this the kind of partnership where I have to be next to you the whole time?
And some people might like that.
Some people might. I know that I didn't.
That's right.
And I didn't want that. I was like, I want somebody where we don't have to be attached at the hip, where like we can go to a party, we can go our separate ways, we'll find our way back to each other, but it's like, we are our own people. We are together. We
always,
but we are also our own people. And it was like a kind of a testing for me. I was like, can you stand on your own 2 feet in an unfamiliar environment? And like, are you going to be okay?
Yeah, that was very much our organic dynamic. I didn't even realize, I don't know if you ever tested me on it per se, but I didn't even realize it until after we did it, where I was like, I love how we do this, like, cause we'll find each other's from across the room and look at each other and smile, but like do our own thing, have our own conversation. And it actually works like on a power couple tip, like it works really well because we can go into events and work the heck out of a room.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and I love it because if I bring you're like, hey, I met so-and-so and so over here, you should come meet them.
Oh my God,
like,
I don't think I've ever brought you somewhere where not everyone loved you.
Oh, that's really
Everyone
nice.
loves you everywhere we go, and I take you.
I just also, you have really good people. I love your people. Like,
I mean, my best friend gave you a gift.
I love
after
him.
Meeting you. And Jonathan, he's never done that for any past girlfriend ever.
Listen, he came over the other night to get a dead possum out of our backyard.
Oh yeah, there was an incident in the backyard, dead possum. I was out of town.
I know, and so I called him. I was like, Jonathan, can you come get this possum out of the backyard?
And he came.
He sure did.
Because my friends have your back.
He told me, he was like, your family, I'm coming to take. But I mean, again, testament to your family friends. They're just good, sane people. They take very good care of me. Like,
yeah.
But okay, so when is the right time then to bring someone in?
I mean, I don't know if it's like, okay, we've gone 3 weeks. Now is the time. I think it's every relationship. You have to evaluate how close you are. Can you envision yourself with this person? Are you taking this seriously?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like,
I guess for me, it's like what you're describing is when it starts being long enough that in order for you to continue hanging out, your hangouts need to be merged a little bit.
yeah, like now it's getting awkward that
like it can't just be solo dates because I can't see you 5 times a week solo. Sometimes I got stuff going on and you should probably come with me to that stuff.
yeah,
you know,
and you should feel comfortable bringing your person to that, whatever that stuff is.
Did she suck at the party? How'd it go?
She was all right. But all in all, as time went on, you know, I kept making excuses for her for a long time, and she would kill conversation because she was kind of like awkward and like whatever. You know, a nice person and means well and
just
all this great stuff.
Out of alignment.
Just out of alignment. And I just realized after a while it just wasn't for me. And
when did she meet? Did she get to meet the fam though?
Yeah. She's met everyone. Yeah.
Oh wow. And so, but did you see any weird dynamics there, or was it just kind of like dry?
No, it was fine because she was very friendly and you know, yeah, she was very friendly and everyone got along, you know, well enough. It was fine. But something was just a little... But even so, and after it was like 5 years, you know, that we were together, and I never felt comfortable leaving her alone with any of my family, or like her developing a solo relationship with anyone in my family. I felt weird about that because I knew in my heart it wasn't right. It wasn't going to last. So it wasn't until you that I felt...
Oh, you were weird with me. Don't lie.
I was weird. I was weird at first because I'm protective of my family because of that fact.
You were super weird about it.
I was. And because I'm protective of my family in that way. And I'm like, I needed to make sure that this was going to be the real deal before I allow you to create your own relationship with people in my family.
Right. Yeah.
You know, bringing you to a family event is one thing. You being at my brother's house and watching my niece
and nephew,
you know, on your own while I'm doing something else is like a completely separate thing for me.
So I have to say, and I don't think we've talked about this, but hey, whatever, in front of the peoples, I thought that was really unusual that was weird for you. So like for me, I like, and obviously I'm the international mama, right? Like, you know, I'm like everybody's auntie. I have raised kids in the air. Like I literally will get DMs from people saying, I remember the time you sat next to me on the plane and you helped me with my baby and we still think of you. Like all that, right? Like I love a little, right? So for me to pop in, and also I think a lot of the aunties will relate to this too culturally, the way that Ghanaians are about like family and friendship, it's seeped into our culture. So it's like if you come to even like the village or come visit, like obviously if you come in and I met you at market, come, we have food, meet the family, come greet our friend. Like it's just a baseline, and then we'll check on you, you know, like everybody will come greet you. They're just certain cultural things. So the idea that your family lives within 5 minutes of us everywhere and we're not popping in and out, or oh, I need a screwdriver, let me go to so-and-so's. Oh, they need help with the kid. Oh, they called like a nanny first. Why? I'm right here. Like, that's weird to me. So for you to be like,
because they recognize everyone's busy and everyone's got schedules and energy, and you know, it's just
so American, I think, to me.
It's very American. It's just, but we're in America.
Yeah, like, of course. I guess like it's so just, you know, thing, it's just so different to me. And also not Southern. I think also like that's still, even if you're from the South and East Coast, that's like a very cultural thing too. So when your family, I think it was just in a pinch, like they were in between nannies and they needed like a day of help, of who else is supposed to do it? You know what I mean?
I mean, well, they did call a couple times to help, you know, and I'm happy to always. Yeah. You know, I know, and you are too.
Of course. You know, but I didn't realize for you it was a stirring of feels.
Well, because like, wow, I'm not going to let somebody I'm dating come in, establish this relationship with my family, and if I don't think it's going to last, I don't want there to be a lasting impression from this woman in my life that isn't going to be around, you know, and now my family is like, you know, meeting my new girl after you, and they're like, well, what about Nicole? Whatever happened there? We missed Nicole. Yeah. I don't want that energy.
That's exactly what would happen.
That's exactly what would happen.
I just want you to know
I
that.
I know.
I made a point to, I have imprinted the mess out of myself.
I think I'm marrying you.
That's, you must.
and forced me into it.
And remaining. Okay.
Trapped.
I already told you, I was like, God forbid, if I go before you, you won't even be able to be with another woman at all. I will come in there. You'll go on that date. I'm going to spill wine on her. It won't happen.
Oh, is that what you're going to do?
In Jesus' name. So, earmuffs on the kids. I've also told him that if he ever tries to, if I pass and he sleeps with another woman, I am going to like poke him in the butt. Like I'm going to do like the weirdest things to ruin it for him. I'm gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
You'll never be with anyone else. That's it.
Appreciate
It's gonna be like in The Notebook. We're gonna go at the same time, holding hands, overlooking a lake while sitting on a bench. It's gonna be so beautiful.
But yeah, so it's a total thing when, whether you do or don't introduce the girl to the family, because it's like there's all these things going in the back of your head. Like, is this going to be for real? Is this going to last? All those things.
And family's definitely an indicator of, because no matter what, family, you're stuck with them.
Best friends.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. So.
And we hear this from other people too. Like one of your friends that you work with for music a lot, he mentioned dating a girl for like 3+ years, getting to the point of the engagement. Then the mom started tripping out. He literally broke off the engagement and broke off the relationship and told the girl he still loved her. He was like, look, you get your mom and fam under control. We're good to go. She didn't do it. They're not together.
Yeah, because that's also a testament that she wasn't willing to stand up for him.
Listen, that wrangling the family is a real thing. Whose responsibility do you think it is?
Whosever family it is.
Yes. Co-sign. This is why we together. This is the reason why. Literally,
if my family was acting out of control and saying crazy stuff to you, like whatever racist comments or whatever, I would be shutting it down.
That's right. Shut it down. And when I tell you, when I sat down with my therapist, and my therapist at one point when I was talking to her about, we'll just say an amalgamation of relationships, she asked me about one of my previous relationships. When did you know it was over? And I said, oh, I think at this point. And when the point that I referenced was like years in, and she was like, oh no, the minute that he told you to go and apologize to his parents because it made him uncomfortable. She was like, and that was early. That was like before that was early, before a real commitment. And she was like, because at that point, that person was not committed to the future, and that for me was like transformational, because I realize now with you recognize that we have a union and we recognize our responsibility and obligation to the family as a whole, but we are moving forward as our family. And that's really important to us too.
Yeah. I mean, even things as little as when it came to Thanksgiving, there was like there was a thing with one of my,
my God, this?
There was a thing.
God.
No, it's little.
Okay, no, go ahead.
You know what I mean?
I get it. No, it's a good example. It's little. Go ahead.
It's little, but it's important.
I love you because it was important. I get it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Thanksgiving, like one of my family members, like we were talking about who's gonna bring what dish and like whatever, and one of my family members was like kind of not on board. Nicole said she wanted to bring her famous mac and cheese.
Viral. It is
viral,
super award winning.
Great mac and cheese. Classic. And as I've experienced Thanksgivings over the years, like mac and cheese is an integral part of the meal.
It is like literally what people argue about, if it's like, it's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility as an American to bring great mac and cheese.
Literally.
And there is, and in my family that traditionally has not been the case. Like there hasn't been mac and cheese. And they make other good dishes, just nobody's done
actually
mac and
your
cheese.
family, like the food is decent. That was another sticking point.
Like
y'all can cook okay.
Yeah, they do all right.
That.
Yeah, for sure. And but she's like, I don't really see mac and cheese as a Thanksgiving meal or a food or whatever. Like, can we do something else? And I was like, hey, so I'm just gonna lay it out for you, like, because my family's white and you're black.
That's right. If we're gonna bring it up, go ahead.
I'll just say it how it is.
Yes.
So, and traditionally in black households, mac and cheese is a big deal.
It's a staple.
It's a staple. And in my more white family, it was not. And so I was like, hey, so I recognize like you don't see it as a traditional Thanksgiving food, but like in generally like in black households, like this is a thing. So I think I don't want to exclude like this thing that can be important to Nicole from our, I want to make sure she's included in that comes down to the food or traditions and just culture bringing into our famay too.
I wasn't even part of this. I did not prompt this.
Oh yeah, no,
this
not at all.
He heard no back and he said, not too much. Like instantly.
I mean, not to mention, I just love the mac and cheese.
Yes.
But also, I love you, and I'll stand up for you and your mac and cheese.
Also that. So
but
that was
it's
part
important.
of it.
But that's part of it. It's like standing up even for the little things. It doesn't have to be like saying racist comments or like someone trying to fight you or crazy or like whatever. It's even the little things just to make you feel included or like just bring you in as part of the family, because it's not just about how they or my family's done things. You're a part of it now, so it's how we do things,
Oh, I love this and I love you. And I'm grateful to be a part of the family.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, because I love your family. Like I said, I'm never leaving. I don't know what's going to happen with you, but I'm here for good. They're the best. They're the best. They're the best.
They are. No, and they love you.
They're the best. And my mom loves you. So she's always, my son. She loves you. So, I feel like this is so helpful also because I know people are listening to this, and obviously in between the laughs and the jokes and the stories, you're also thinking about your own family dynamics. And I really hope that in hearing, kind of, I've lived like 4 lives, you know what I mean? Like what I've gone through, and also hearing Alex's like fairly like healthy, normal, rational thinking around it and kind of how that's helped him, that you're able to come to some conclusion or bottom line, or even if you're realizing, look, I'm married, I'm in it, and this is what it is for now, that you're at least saying to yourself, what am I going to let go and what am I going to continue to embrace, and knowing that it's not going to change, sis. You know what I mean? So, and then obviously tell your kids and your girls and your children and let them know, grab a little bit more from Alex's healthy column, that like it's really, really important to continue to look for family because it is a huge indicator. I'm excited to build a family with you and for us to be the fun family for our kids. Do you think that's what we're going to be?
I think so.
I think
so. I think my family is fun. There's definitely like, there's a lot of dynamics and I love it, but I think we're going to bring our own energy to it. I'm really excited.
And I can't wait for our kids to bring home their new people to us and us to just freak them out.
Oh my God.
I can't wait.
We're going to mess with them so bad.
So bad. The first thing I'm going to do when they ring the doorbell is yell, get into your baby cage. Right? And then be like, hi, I'm so glad you're here. Just like that.
I mean, like, watch your tone. I'm not afraid to go back to prison.
It's not going to be like last time. I just love it. Our kids are so tired of us. They're exhausted. I love it.
It's going to be great.
And I love you.
I love you.